Most cyber attacks don't happen instantly. They've unfolded over days and sometimes over weeks or even months. And in many cases, companies already had the data. The signals were there, the alerts were there, and the activity was there as well. But no one connected the dots. If you don't already know me, I've been working in IT governance, risk, and compliance for the past several years, and I've helped large organizations to assess their cybersecurity programs. If there's a topic you would like me to break down, just leave a comment below. Today, we're going to understand why cyber attacks go undetected. Let's start with a simple example. An employee receives an email, it looks legitimate, they click a link, enter their credentials, and then nothing happens. No warning, no obvious failure, no big alarm. But in the background, the attacker has now access. A little later, maybe in the same day or even more, there's a connection from a different location, then an access to internal systems, then unusual activities around files, systems, or even sensitive data. At every step, there are signals, but none of those signals look catastrophic on their own. And that is what makes this situation so dangerous. Most attacks don't begin with something dramatic. They begin with small events that all seem harmless when isolated. That leads to one of the biggest problems in cybersecurity. Security teams always see tons of events, but attacks are patterns. A single login is not necessarily suspicious. Neither is a user accessing system at an unusual time. But when you connect those events together, it becomes a very different story. And many organizations are not built to connect these dots fast enough. They have tools that generate logs, they have alerts, they have dashboards, but all those tools do not automatically create understanding. They create information. And information without interpretation is not enough. Now let's add another problem on top of that. Volume. Most environments generate an enormous amount of noise. Hundreds or even thousands of alerts every day. And most of them are false positives. So people adapt, they start filtering mentally, and they start assuming that certain alerts are normal. They start recognizing patterns that usually lead to nowhere, and over time that creates alert fatigue. And that's not because employees are careless. That's because they are overloaded. And once a team is overloaded, something dangerous can happen. A real attack starts to look like just another alert. And this is one of the harder truths in cybersecurity. Sometimes the tool works, or the signals are there, but the organization has seen so much noise before that it no longer reacts with urgency. Another major reason why attacks go undetected is the context. A security tool might tell you that a login came from another country, but is this unusual? Is it suspicious? Maybe the user is traveling, or maybe it uses a VPN, and maybe it's a legitimate service account. A tool can also tell you that a user downloaded a large amount of files. Is that malicious? Possibly. Or maybe they're just doing their normal job. Without context, detection becomes guesswork. And that context usually lives outside that security tool itself. And those parts are not always connected. So even when technical indicators exist, the organization may still not be able to understand what it actually means. And if you cannot interpret activity correctly, well, you will always be too late. Now think about how modern environments really work. Identity is managed at one place, applications are hosted somewhere else, data is stored across multiple cloud solutions, infrastructure might be partially outsourced, and some support functions are also handled by third-party vendors. Each of these systems sees a piece of the puzzle, but no single place sees the whole picture. That means visibility is fragmented, and fragmented visibilities create blind spots. So even if the attacker is moving inside the environment, it doesn't mean that someone with only a small piece of the puzzle will see the whole pattern. This is especially true with organizations that grow quickly. They've adopted multiple tools over time and they rely on many providers. The more fragmented the environment becomes, the harder it is to detect malicious behaviors. There's a problem that gets less attention than it should: communication. In many organizations, all the team involved are not fully aligned. Security sees one thing, IT operations sees something else, and sometimes even that help desk is outsourced. So what happens? Information gets delayed. It gets sent through multiple layers before it reaches the right internal team. And by the time the people with the right knowledge get involved, precious time has already been lost. So that delay really matters, because attackers don't wait for internal coordination. They keep moving while you're still trying to understand what's happening. Now, let's say the attack finally gets noticed. Even then, many organizations still struggle, because detection is only one piece of the equation. Response is where the real pressure begins. Who takes the lead? Who decides if a system should be isolated? Who even confirms if the business can tolerate some disruption? In many companies, these questions are documented somewhere, but they were never truly practiced or tested. And if they were written years ago, well, it may no longer reflect today's reality. So when that moment comes, people hesitate. They ask for confirmation, they escalate slowly, and they wait. That hesitation is what gives attackers time. A slow response is often what turns suspicious activity into a real breach. So when a company says, "We didn't see it coming," it's not usually true. What they often mean is that they didn't understand what they were seeing. The signals were there, the data was there, the alerts were there, but the organization was not prepared to connect the dots quickly enough. Not because there were no tools, not because nobody cared, but because noise, fragmentation, missing context, and process gaps made that detection harder. Cybersecurity is not just about collecting data. It's about making sense of that data quickly enough to act. And that's where many organizations still struggle today. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've learned something today. And if something wasn't clear, or even if you disagree with something I mentioned today, just leave a comment. And if there's a topic you would like me to cover next, mention it there as well. I might turn it into a future episode. But until then, have a good rest of the day and I'll see you soon.